I believe that Paul showed him footage of me doing the Terminator and asked him, "Can you do this?"
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Take one. Thanks for the $2. We covered this maybe on the first episode or at least the second episode. Shane O'Mac, Coast to Coast. Did you ever get credit from him?
No, he never. I don't remember him ever mentioning it to me. If he did, then I don't remember. He definitely didn't give me credit. Nah, he didn't. It never came up. Never came up. I believe that Paul showed him footage of me doing the Terminator and asked him, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" He said, "Oh, maybe if I put a trash can on the ropes, I got like an extra 3 feet there. I don't have to fly down." So that's what the Coast to Coast is. But I get credit from you guys, from all the hardcore fans that were there from the beginning.
Yep.
It's amazing anyway. Like a lot of my stuff. But I thought that with the Terminator, like how could I just be the first one to ever think of doing that? But my thinking is obviously out of the box. I don't see any other way. And so when I do moves that people haven't seen, some part of me is like, how is that? It's a 4-sided ring, 3 ropes. Wrestling's been around for, a long, long time, right? Hundreds of years if you want to go back to Odysseus and battling over the armor of Ajax. Anyway, I'm pretty stoked that I've gotten credit for being original, and when I started hearing that, it made me put more energy into celebrating my individuality and being more confident that being myself was the right decision. And boom, it just all worked out so organically.
Yeah, that leads me to a couple of questions regarding the doc too, because what was neat is like they showed your Terminator like a couple times on the documentary, and like I remember seeing it for the first time when I was like 14 or 13 and being like, I did not know that was possible. For something to do. And so it like completely blew my mind. It was like the most amazing move I've ever seen. And like, so like for you to think like, oh, I can't believe nobody's ever done that before, like, or nobody thought about that before, where I didn't think it was physically possible for somebody to do. So,
but in all likelihood, that thought probably is what kept anyone else from thinking of doing it. Yeah. Was just the subconscious understanding that can't be done. Mm-hmm. And so that's like a barrier that not everyone can comfortably think around. So now that I've proved it can be done, I see guys on indie shows, the neon green dude runs halfway down the top rope and then jumps off it, to make it his own. And it's like, or they do shooting star, whatever. Pretty cool, but also sometimes the ring is 16 feet. Sometimes it's 20, 24 feet if you're in Japan. So that makes a big difference. Sometimes the ropes are loose. Sometimes they're tight. Huge variety there when you wrestle for different companies in different levels of promotions and all over the world. You can't count on consistency with any of that. So that is a move that takes, you hope for the best conditions to pull it off anyway.
Okay, so when it comes to an ECW ring, how big was that ring?
18 by 18.
18 by 18. The ropes are pretty good for all that too, to do that.
Best ropes ever. My favorite ropes out of my whole career. There's steel cable. Steel cable run through a rubber hose type of material, and then you tighten with the turnbuckles, and you have to have a solid double frame. A lot of the rings on the indie scene don't have the double frame, so when they tighten the ropes up, the bottoms then come out because the level of the platform itself becomes a fulcrum point. So when you pull in on the top, the bottoms come out, and you can't solve that no matter how many times you put a cross cable underneath it with a winch or duct tape it or whatever you're gonna do. There's nothing that will balance out the pressure of the boys hitting the ropes and all that pulling in on the top, so they get looser and looser, and the poles come leaning in, and that's something that I've dealt with for 30 years. But a good ring like ECW's ring, I actually sold ECW their ring when when I first went there. I mean, they already had a ring. Then I sold them a ring, and we used that. And then my understanding is that they built a replica of it, and then the ring I sold them, they moved to the wrestling school that Taz and Perry Saturn were doing, I guess. So somehow when I was living in Augusta, Georgia, I remember buying this ring that was the history of it, as I was told from a local guy that I bought it from. He said that back in the territory days, they used this ring, and it was left like in the basement of the Civic Center. It was an old, I believe, NWA ring, abandoned. I think I bought it for $1,000, and I think I sold it for $5,000 to ECW.
That's awesome.
Dang.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite ring, 18 feet by 18 feet, and that's the platform. I mean, the ropes are then 16 inside, but plywood, no spring, and metal bars all the way across, runners, that, and then the plywood on top. I like a ring to be stiff. I like when I push off of it to jump, to do my entrance kick. Rob Van, when I jump up to do that helicopter kick at the beginning, most of today's rings, they're so soft, or they're pussified, so that when I push, the ring goes down, and it kills my jump. And so it's like, it blows me up, makes me feel like I'm trying to jump in water or something. It's weird. It has an opposite effect from what I think the people who made the ring are trying to get.
Yeah. What? So what is a WWE ring then? Is it 18 by 18 too, or is that?
That one's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
That one, so that one's 20. It's 20 feet. I think it's 20 feet inside the ring.
Oh, okay.
And then, which would make it 24 feet.
Wow. Okay.
Not 100% sure. It might be off by as much as 2 feet, but I think that's what it is. Otherwise, it's 20 feet, and there's a foot apron, which isn't very much. I think they have a big ass apron too. Yeah. Right now, I can't remember. I think that it's 20 by 20, but if it's only 2 more feet, I think it's 20 by 20 total, actually.
Wow. Okay. So
and the Japan ring, All Japan, I think was 24 feet, and I think that's the only one that I was in consistently that was that big.
That seems like I never heard it like from that kind of size, like for 20 feet inside.
So if you figure it's only an extra 3 feet on each side, it doesn't seem like that much, right?
Right, yeah.
But also the ropes, like WWE used real nylon ropes as opposed to the steel cable running through a rubber hose, so that makes a big difference.
Is it more? Is there a tendency to slip more on the nylons?
No, because usually both of them are just kind of like wrapped with colored tape anyway, and that's what you get your traction, and that's what you feel.
Yeah.
That's what the epidermis is of it, but the steel cable's going to bounce you a lot better and not wear not give to the stretch as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you find it a lot of wrestlers are more partial to the steel cables, or are they more partial to nylon? Is
I
there a certain preference for majority of wrestlers?
I really don't know. Years ago, I think it was a time kind of thing. I think the old timers and the bigger guys and the guys that wrestled more the old 80s style, I think they prefer the normal ropes. You know,
Mhm.
that style wasn't about, you know, jumping from the second rope and springboarding to the top from there and then diagonal to the other top and then running down the top rope like a tightrope. That shit, you know, wasn't what they were doing in the 80s. And the big guys that were around back then, you know, the Greg Valentine, King Kong Bundys, and Earthquake, those guys, I think, you know, they were just fine with the ropes. And a lot of those guys wouldn't prefer the stiffness of the steel cables because it does hurt and you got to get conditioned to it. And when you start training for your first time, as far as running the ropes, you have bruises under your arm and or your back there. And I hit the ropes, and it bothers me to see, and it looks stupid to me to see wrestlers turn their back and then just kind of like lean into it and then just take off running. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I use that to catapult me. Always have. I think I told the story about when Giant Baba tried to fool me and threw the young boy down at my feet, thinking I wasn't going to react enough the way that I was doing that, but proved him wrong. And that's why you shouldn't be nervous when I'm behind the wheel of a car. I got good reflexes.
Good reflexes. You're ready to roll.